When people say data, automatically like, oh God, data, here we go. And they're not sexy, it is just a spreadsheet, but that spreadsheet's got so much value in. Buying a list and getting on the phone, doing email, add them on LinkedIn, that is still the cheapest way to acquire a customer. It's still one of the most underutilized marketing strategies, still to this day. Michael, welcome to The Fake Marketer.
Thank you for having me.
How you doing, you all right?
I'm good.
Nick's not here today.
I know.
Because he's not supposed to be on anyway.
We've made the joke that Nick's always here, and now Nick's not here.
He's not here. So he's too busy today, and we are recording on a Tuesday rather than a Monday, because
You were out of office yesterday.
I was, yes. I forgot where I was, yeah. I was at the office yesterday. But today, I thought, seeing as though Nick's not here, we're going to be discussing fleet data.
Oh, yes.
Fleet data, everybody. And for those in the automotive space, will know that MIB do fleet data and have done for many, many, many years. So I thought, what better time while Nick's away to talk about what I do most days is discuss fleet data.
Okay.
But we always start with adverts that I've seen, which I've enjoyed this week, and I sent you two this week, Michael, which is why when you texted me yesterday going, what's this?
Oh, that was what that was
Only
for.
because I knew I'd forget them at the time.
See.
So the first one, I'm going to go for KFC. There's two I've seen. KFC was brilliant because it said, we've listened, we've heard you. Why don't we do turkey at Christmas? And it went along and it told you this story. And then in the end it went, we haven't listened to you and we don't care. Here's some chicken with just some stuffing on top. And
I've seen the new thing. I've not tried it, but I've seen it.
No, but it's brilliant. Loved it.
Yeah,
Absolutely loved it.
I like when companies do that, where they just sort of like play into it a bit.
Yeah, so I enjoyed that one. And then the one that I saw, which I absolutely adored, was Bupa. Because Bupa are one of those businesses where a legacy company, they've been going for donkey's years, everyone knows what they do, but actually a lot of companies of that ilk rest on their laurels a little bit.
Yeah. So
what I loved is they've got an advert out, and it started with be seen like for cancer diagnosis or XYZ, or get like 24-hour doctor support. And while you were watching it, you then at the end went, oh, it's for Bupa. And it was like one of these stagnant industries, a bit like insurance or, sort of white collar industries. And they've really just, rather than going, oh, everyone knows what we do, it's like, do you know what, we're going to start again and we're going to tell the public, we're going to tell the people what we do in black and white. And I loved it and it engaged me, and I went, oh, you've nailed that, Bupa. So basically Bupa's marketing team, I'm going to give you a little gold star this week, because I genuinely, if you watched it, and we could put a clip up if we're allowed, I loved it. I thought it was brilliant.
That's good.
Yeah, it told you what they do. And I know it sounds simple, but it's very good.
Nice. I saw the have you seen that one from, I just had to look it up because I couldn't remember who it was from, the Norwich City suicide prevention ad. That was a really good ad. I know it's like a bit old now, it was October, but yeah, I liked that. I just thought it wasn't very complicated, but it did what it needed to do.
It was compelling, and it was very even my mates texted me. We've got a client in the football space, and yeah, they said it was it was amazing.
It sort of leads you down where you think you know where it's going to go, and then it kind of flips it on you, doesn't it?
Yeah, it was. I think one of my mates put, "No, you didn't cry," or something like that. It's like, but no, that was very good. Yeah, that's back in October now. You're a bit late to the party.
Yeah, 10th of October. I saw it a while ago. I was just, when you brought up Bupa and health, I sort of thought about it.
Have you seen any of us this week, Michael? Normally Nick would go, oh, I want Hexclad. They don't give 80% off.
I meant to say I saw a TikTok of somebody who, I think it was for a birthday or something, and it didn't explain anything what it was about, and this guy was opening these big parcels that his spouse had bought for him as a surprise, and it was for Hexclad, and he was really excited, and I was like, that's a Nick fan, right?
He'd be really envious of that guy.
Yeah, he was
Very
big
envious.
boxes as well, so he must have got a shed load of
It's
stuff.
one of Nick's bundles that he's really looking forward to.
Maybe, yeah.
Really looking forward to. So that's the adverts we've done this week. I can't discuss any running because I've not been running because I'm still injured. Although tomorrow the tyres might be going back on.
Are you feeling better now?
It's not that I'm feeling better. It's if my little thigh strain is back to normal. So I will be doing the park run, Michael, with Nick in Stratford.
That'd be good.
And I will be he will be hitting my dust. So that's that. So fleet data. Michael, what is fleet data?
No, you've brought me in like I'm now an expert on fleet data.
No, the reason I ask is because a lot of people don't know what fleet data is.
I assume it's like data from like telematics and that sort of stuff from vehicles and like where they're going, how fast they're going, average mileage, that sort of thing. And then
so because we have clients in the telematics space, I'm going to let you off and go, no.
Is that not what it is?
It's not what it is.
Oh, I was thinking like Cortex-y type.
Yeah, no, Cortex, Verizon Connect, Michelin, all those guys in that space. No, it's not that data. So this is a. Have you just moved that camera?
I'm moving it slightly. Carry on.
You sure?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
It's not a problem.
So this is what happens when Nick's not in the podcast. You see, Michael gets all creative, and is that okay?
Yeah. It's fine.
Cool. So. Fleet data. So those in the automotive space, so you might be a telematics provider, you might be a car manufacturer, you might be a dealership, fuel card provider. All of these businesses are trying to contact businesses that run vehicles. So let's say, for example, you are Mercedes and you want to sell some E-classes or some C-classes to business owners or their salespeople or whomever. Mercedes would come to MIB and they would say, hi James or hi Jason or whomever, I am looking to target businesses that run 5 or more cars. Can you provide that data? Now we can, because we're the only ones in the UK that have actual fleet data, and I'll go into actual versus model a little bit later on, because I've got my bee in my bonnet about model data at the moment, which is what some people, I'm not saying they're scammers, but they're bending the truth.
They sort of try and play it off as that they've got actual data when they haven't.
Exactly that. So yeah, that's the premise. The Mercedes would come to us and say, have you got business that have got 5 or more vehicles? And I would say, yes, Mr. Mercedes, we've got 4,000. Would you like to buy them? And they would buy that record at a cost per record or a cost per 1,000. And that is 75p per record. And you can market to that business and that record for a 12-month period. And after that 12 months, if you haven't converted it into a sale and a conversion, you would then relicense that data after we've updated it, or you would delete it from your systems. So that's what fleet data is. Really, really simple. But the difference of our fleet data is it's actual. So this is where MIB and other data providers in the UK are a little bit different when it comes to fleet. So bear in mind, we've been doing this now 13 years, Nick and I. It's a long old time. And we started out by having a few contracts with fuel card companies, actually, people like Arval, who were really big in that space. And they employed us to call businesses and find out how many vehicles they ran and what fuel cards they used. The reason why they employed that to or outsourced it to us is because it wasn't available on the market. But one of the stipulations of the contract was, actually, are we okay to own the data after, as long as we don't sell it to your competitors? And the answer was yes. So that's how it all started for us. And then we obviously kept growing the file and growing the file. And as of today, as of literally today, we've got around 85,646 records. Now that will fluctuate up to between that and about 110, depending on the recency cycle, which I'll go into. So that's how it all started. Now, because Arval exported, because they outsourced that to us, it wasn't available in the marketplace. You couldn't go to a normal business provider and go, business data provider and go, right, I'm going to target businesses with 10 or more vehicles. Because the only way you can get that information is by calling it. It's not something available on company's house. There's no websites, you don't go onto a website and go, hi, I've got X amount of vehicles. It's just not available. Yeah. So you've got to have a call center function to actually create that data. So you'd call up a business and find out how many vehicles they have. Now, what we found in time is that obviously by calling it, again, it's brilliant. We get the right details. We know who's dealing with the vehicles as well. So it might not be an MD, it might be a fleet manager, or we see like finance now. We see HR contacts, depending on the size of business and what vehicles they have. So it's really diversified the contacts over the last few years probably the last 5 years, really, since technology sort of increased. But what we have now done is we found that actually while we're on the phone, we can get more information. Not just about the vehicles, we can find out what fuel cards they have, or if they use them or not. And if they are, what fuel card providers they use. Now, we'll try to get up to 3 fuel cards per business. It's unlikely we get all of them. And the reason why most businesses have more than one is because they'll just use whoever's cheaper on the Monday for the guys. So it makes sense. We'll also find out what telematics provider they use. And obviously if they don't, then that's fine. Do they lease or own the vehicles, or a bit of both? Do they have any grey fleets? So a grey fleet are those businesses that would give a company car allowance to the salesperson typically, but they wouldn't own the car. They would just say, here's a £200 extra on your pay slip. You own the car. That's your company car allowance. We also find out if they're using EVs or hybrids at the moment. What's interesting with that question is, at the moment, a lot of companies still haven't adopted that technology, which is a little bit annoying because, again, we want more data so our clients can use and sell their EV products to companies, but actually no one's adopting it yet to the level that we want them to, which is a pain. And then the final question that we ask is around, do they run outside the UK into Europe? And the reason why we ask that is it's normally hauliers. So again, some of our clients have products that lend themselves to, say, fuel cards or telematics, where they're running out the UK into Europe and overseas. So that's fleet data. That's it. But you can only get that and gather that via phone. It's totally impossible to do it any other way. You can try and do it via things like email surveys. But, if I emailed you, Michael, saying, can you do a survey on how many cameras you've got for the business?
Yeah, it sounds a bit dodgy, doesn't it?
Well, you wouldn't do it, would you?
Yeah.
You would not do it.
When you ring people up and they give you that information, what is their incentive to give you that information?
That is why you're on this podcast, Michael. Not only because you're an ace editor, but because you're asking questions like that. It's a very valid question, and everyone's like, why do they give you that information? They don't have to. They're giving you that information willingly. What you find is, especially at reception level for the smaller businesses, they get a lot of calls every day. And what we found over our time is the quicker you are on the call, the more responsive they are. So rather than going, oh, hi, Mr. My name's Michael, I'm calling from MIP. Now, what we're doing today is we're going to find a little bit more information about your vehicles. And I'm going to do this with a smile on my face. But before we start, how many children have you got? You go into that rubbish. Yeah. They're not interested, they're busy. Whereas you go, hi, it's Michael here, calling from MIP. Have you still got 4 vehicles there? No, it's about 3 now. Oh, right. Are they still vans? Yeah, but actually we've got a car as well. Okay, brilliant. Is it still XYZ who deals with those vehicles? No, it's Mrs. Jones. Brilliant. And do you use a fuel card? Yep. Do you know which provider you use? Yeah, we use SO and whatever. Great. And do you use any telematics? You're often on the call in about 110 seconds. Mm-hmm. And then you're gone. That's it.
It's not a big burden on them to sort of...
No. And what's really interesting is they know that you're respectful of their time, so they're willing to give the information. But in terms of your question, there's absolutely zero incentive for them to give it. Although a lot of these companies now know that if you give the right information, they're going to be given the right products or services. But that's not always the case. Some people will just give you it and go, on their day as they usually do. But typically they wouldn't. We're recording. Yeah. Just the podcast life. I've totally lost where I was now.
You're talking about if they give out the right information, they get the right products.
Yeah, the right offers. Yeah, the right offers, the right content. So, but some people will just willingly give it because they have 10 calls of these a day, whether it's IT, fleet, software, whatever it may be. Mm-hmm. But a lot of people do ask that. Now, the reason why we're then able to sell that data to our clients is because it's legitimate interest. So where people get a little bit confused with GDPR and the laws around data since they came in May 18 was around you needed consent. So if from a business perspective, if they went along the if they went along the lines they were going to, which is, I need to call that business and I need to say, can I have your permission to sell this data to XYZ business? Well, the problem is, we as a data owner, as we're calling and researching, we don't know who we're going to sell that data to in 2 months' time. We can have an idea, but we at MIB have over 2,000 customers. So I can't on the phone go, great, can I just confirm that you're happy to sell this data to XZ, and you'd be there for an hour just going through 2,000 businesses.
Yeah.
Commercially, that doesn't work. So you don't need consent anymore. What you need is legitimate interest. So legitimate interest is where a business will say, hi, Mercedes, in this case, we're looking to target businesses that have 5 or more cars. Well, the reason they'd want 5 or more cars in that business is because they've got a legitimate offer and service and product they can sell to them. Brilliant. So they've done their job. We as data owner have gone, yep, we're legitimately looking at the process and going, yep, you sell cars, these guys have got cars. There's legitimacy there. What GDPR came in for, which wasn't a new legislation on May 18, which a lot of people think it was, but actually that was there to stop spammers. It was to stop these huge mailers, just blanket mailers going out with no context, no value. It was just like, let's throw it at the wall and hope it sticks. That's where GDPR came in. But for us as a data company, we've always been along the lines of getting the right data for the right people, because that's where you'll get your best results.
Yeah.
Now, how you use the data is a whole different conversation. But actually, Mercedes, let's say in this case, they know every business they're calling from our list has 5 or more cars. So when it gets sent to their dealerships or their BDMs, they can call that business and have an actual conversation around their vehicles. It's not about just, there you go, let's hope they have 5 cars. No, we know they've got 5 cars. You can legitimately help them.
Because that would waste their time as well if they have to ring around going, oh, have you got this? Oh, no, we haven't. And then you spend half your time looking for the person that you need, whereas you can just get them directly to people that they know have got what they're looking for.
Exactly. And that's why, data, although, things like this podcast and other stuff we do as an agency, as a business, we've got, electron marketing, which is going to become a group very soon. It's got different strings to its bow, and even though we love social, we love content, we love email, data is still the heart of that, and it's the beating heart. And when you look at a prospect list, they're not very sexy, and I get it. When people say data, it's automatically like, oh god, data, here we go, and they're not sexy. It is just a spreadsheet, but that spreadsheet's got so much value in, and still to this day, buying a list and getting on the phone, doing email, adding them on LinkedIn, doing the stuff like we're doing today, just recording some stuff and keep putting it out, keep trying to engage that user. That is still the cheapest way to acquire a customer. What I think is a little bit backwards, especially in the B2B space, is where people keep, content, which I do agree with. But also, if your market is ice cream shops, and I can give you a list of ice cream shops, why on earth would you do all of that to get to there, which, when you look at it commercially and the cost to that business, well, buying a list at 35p a record for business data and 75p for fleet data, well, if I bought 2,000 businesses, let's say ice cream shops, that's 700 quid plus the VAT. Well, £700 when you come to content, as you were, Michael, you were at setup yesterday with applause of our clients. Look at the rig that you turned up there.
Yeah, exactly.
Bit more than 700 quid, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
So that's why I get, sometimes data is, although it's seen as like, the annoying stepchild, it's really not. It should be, put to the forefront. And you, like you said then around salespeople calling leads, XYZ, is that, data, if it's the right data, you should be able to convert those users to a customer if they're in market, because you know what they do. If it's from a fleet data perspective, what tracking system they use, what type of vehicles they run, is it cars, vans or trucks, who the fleet decision maker is. You can see what tracking systems they use, what fuel cards they use. You have a real understanding of how that business runs, its vehicles. So actually, from a fleet perspective, if you are a telematics provider, a fuel card provider, you can go, well, I know how this business operates. I can go in with a compelling offer And yes, it's not an inbound lead, but I can get in there.
Yeah.
And that's, still to this day is not, data's still not seen in that light.
Yeah.
And it's, it used to be, but obviously with the digital age that, as we all, again, stuff like this, we've sort of lost that a little bit. And, there's still a huge amount of value in that data.
You were saying about the cost of the records and stuff. You say fleet data is like 40p more per record than company data.
It is, yeah. So the reason
why is it more expensive?
Again, Michael, this is why you're here. See, if Nick was here, he'd be like, "Oh yeah, well, fleet," and he'd go off at a tangent. So he'd be like, "Hexclad." I'm like, "Yeah, but Nick, we're talking about vehicles here." Just K Nick, 'cause he's not here. So the difference in the pricing is around how long it takes to create a record. So it's as simple as that.
Mm-hmm.
So think of it as if it takes an average up to 3 calls to create a standard business record. Because you're just asking employee numbers, turnover, which you can get from Memory's house, but it's a bit skew-if. Who's the MD owner? Quite simple stuff, quickly. Whereas fleet data, again, like we said earlier, fuel cards, tracking systems, number of vehicles. And obviously the number of vehicles is the biggest part of this, because if we're not sure that they know, we won't put it as a complete. So the call centre that are calling it, they will not complete it unless they're 100% sure. Mm-hmm. And the reason for that is, again, if it goes to Mercedes, if we're using them as a point in case here, well, if their sales guy call and go, "I ain't got 5 cars, I've got 1, mate," that looks bad on us.
Yeah.
So we're very much, I'd rather the figures be lower and the quality's higher than the other way around.
Yeah, because otherwise, if somebody's just like, "Oh, I think we've got about this many vehicles," you don't really want to trust that.
It takes up to about 12 calls to complete a record.
Oh, wow.
And that does vary from one-man band fleets all the way to 100-plus fleets. But if you average it, it takes about 12 calls. So again, that's at cost to us. That isn't, it's fleet data, we're charging more. That is when you look at it commercially as a business, that's why it's more money. But to your point in the case earlier, which is around actually, if they were calling a business and they don't have vehicles, well, what's the cost implication to that business? Because salespeople aren't cheap. So would you rather spend 40p more on data where you actually know where the vehicle numbers are, what the vehicle numbers are, or would you go, "I'll buy some cheap data," and give it to that really expensive salesperson who sit there and go, "Well, I'm calling all these businesses and they've got no bloody vehicles."
Yeah, if you think how much you pay them an hour in order to call people, it's going to be for how many records you could get for that much.
But it doesn't make sense, does it?
Yeah.
And this is why still to this day, how much is the data? Well, it shouldn't be about how much the data is. If you get 2 conversions from this data, you're going to 10x your return. Oh, wow, yeah. Yeah, like that's the reality to it.
Why do you think that? Do you think it's just people they have misconceptions of it, or it's just ignorance around it, or like?
I think there's a couple of reasons for it. I think data is so readily available now. People go, "I can get it from anywhere. I can go to Google." Well, you sit on Google and you let me know how you get on. Again, it's how much is that resource internally. Emily, actually, a good friend of mine. So my best mate's wife has a wife. I shouldn't say that. She has a. They are engaged. Sorry, Joe. She has a recruitment business, and she works in sort of Solihull Way, okay, in Dorwich, and she said she rang me again. "Oh, you do data?" So, Emily, I might do. She was looking for businesses that she wasn't marketing to at the moment in her local, and they only do like a 5-mile radius for where they are, really localized. And there we go. Her and a few girls that work for her were on Google. "What are you doing? Give us a few £100. I'm in a order £500. Give us that, and I'll give you every business within that area within certain employee size or turnover sizes." Now this wasn't fleet, but if her girls and her sat there, Googled businesses, look how much that's going to cost.
Yeah.
It's a huge amount of money.
And you don't even suppose know if that information's right or if they've just pulled it out. It's like, when you look up celebrities and it's like, oh, they're worth X amount of money, and it's like they could have just pulled that from anywhere, couldn't they?
Yeah, and most business, to be fair to Google, most of the business information is correct on that in truth. So it's not around, for me, it's around the time and the resource and the money it costs to actually collate that data. Whereas you can just buy it, like it's as simple as that. And Luke Evans, who's a video production company here in Leamington, he bought some data from us. I say from us, he bought it from Jason recently. And he's already had a lead from that email sent out. And he's only sent one email out, and that was on Friday. He's just, he only bought 1,900 records, which the cost to him is about 700 quid, give or take. He only needs one to get over the line, and he's made his money back.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's just from the first email. So again, this is where having data or having fleet data is one thing, but then how you're using it is the next. But yeah, fleet data itself isn't readily available, and you've got to call it. But when I was saying earlier about the model versus actual, so actual data, and there are some people on the market, and obviously we don't have. Big thing with us is we have bad mouth competitors. We never have, we never will do. But there are some people out there that go, right, I want to quote. So we quote them, like, oh, you're expensive. And I'm like, well, not really, not when you take into account how much work we get it put in to make sure that data is correct. So not really. And then they then go, well, I've got a quote from someone else. And I go, here we go. Here we go. It's about 30p. And I go, well, is it actual fleet data? Yeah, actual. I was like, okay, well, it's not, is it? Because there's no one else out there. I know there is. And what they'll do is they'll buy model data. So what they'll do is, and this isn't bad, so we do model data for clients, but it's on top of the fleet data, the actual data we've got. So some of our larger clients will need the whole marketplace, okay? So they'll say to me, James, we'll take your 85,000 you got there, and we'll also take another 100,000 where, because you've been doing this so many years, you pretty much know who runs vehicles or doesn't, and can you put a model banding of that data? So we'll do a model banding of like 5 to 9, 10 to 24, 24 to 100, 100 plus, yeah? So only five bands, but we've been doing this for so long, and we do so much calling. Vicky, head of data ops, can pretty much go 75% correct, give or take, okay?
Yeah.
It's not too bad, but we've got 13 years of knowledge of that. Not only industry, not only size of business, location in the UK, we've got so much data. Whereas someone will go, well, we've got 10 employees divided by 12. Yeah, they'll have about one car. And they'll literally do it as that. It's just mad. It's just crazy.
And they'll market that the same as you.
And they'll go, oh, they've got one car. Oh, it's actual. It's a guess. It's an absolute guess. Now, that fleet data may still work for them. So they may email us, they may call, and they may still get conversions. But it's not actual. It is a model. And that is unfortunately when we hear, oh, you're expensive, is because they've gone to someone else who've said, yeah, we've got actual fleet data. And it is unfortunately a model. It's not right.
Yeah, they probably just don't understand because I didn't know about the difference until you just said it. The people probably just hear data is data and they just think it's all the same probably.
Absolutely. But from a marketing manager or a salesperson, if you're going to campaign or call a load of data, you want it to be correct, or you want it to be as close as possible as correct. And the market's shifting. The data market itself is shifting to platforms like Cognism. These online, you might not be too aware of these, but where they scrape a lot of LinkedIn data, and they pull it in, and you can look at certain triggers on what websites they're trading. It is sophisticated, but it's all right. It's still very good. It's Cognism has just been bought out for a lot of money, and it's still a good system. But it's not fleet. If we're going down this fleet specific route like we are for this podcast, it's not fleet specific. We've been doing this for so long. We know what works. We've started recently doing a lot more calling campaigns for clients where we're calling specific lists for that client. So a dealership, which I can't mention because of NDA. Sorry. We're calling 45 dealers for the UK, and we've got a pot of data for each dealer, and we're producing 20 leads per dealer per month, and that's then going to the BDMs to them to sell into. Now, what's really interesting around that is that It's actual fleet data, and it's no more than 30 days old. So that BDM cannot go, and this is what we normally get. Data's rubbish. It's not, though, is it?
Yeah.
You just didn't convert it. It's not the data's rubbish. Do you reckon it might be that, I don't know, you got them on a bad day, or actually they just don't really want to speak to a salesperson today?
Yeah.
That, unfortunately, whereas actually with what we're doing with this campaign for this dealership, which is here's 20 per dealer per month, it's been called in the last 30 days. There's sort of nowhere to hide. Does that make sense?
Yeah. If they do it wrong, then it's sort of on them. Isn't it?
Yeah, and not everyone's in market. Like, not every one of those 20 are going to be in market today.
That's not the data's fault.
That's not the data's fault. But like we say, you know, Nick and I bang the drum about this a lot, which is not everyone's going to be in market today. You want to be the people they think about when they are in market. Again, Hexclad. If Nick wanted to buy some pants tomorrow, who would he think about?
Exactly.
Hexclad. You know, and exactly that. You know, Bupa, if I wanted health insurance, you know, for the business, I'd probably go to Bupa. They'd be the first people on my mind now because of that advert. So it's around that. So that, Michael, in an absolute nut of a shell, is fleet data, is my world.
That was good. It was interesting. When you said fleet data, that was more interesting than I thought it would be.
Yeah, no, I love data. I honestly, I absolutely love it. We've had many debates, about MIP over the years, and I love it. I absolutely love it. It's still one of the most underutilized marketing strategies still to this day, and it's still brilliant. And Jason, a friend of yours who joined the business 5 months ago now, he's an account manager on that side, and I think he's come to terms with, this is actually really good. Yeah, we're not flogging a dead horse, or this isn't like scraping, nothing like that. It's like, it's a good product. This is a good product, and if you use it right, you can absolutely make hay when the sun shines. It's not as boring as people think. Yeah, I suppose with all the social stuff, people might think that data is a bit sort of old hat or something, but I think from the way we're speaking about it, it's still got real value, even more so than other stuff a lot of the time. It's like any form of marketing, is that you've got to use it. It's like all these platforms, Cognism, whether it's SEMrush, whether it's So Amply, all these platforms are brilliant. CRM systems, every platform has a place, but you've got to use it. It's all good and well. You can give the tools to your blue in the face to teams, marketing teams, sales teams. If you don't use it, they're not going to work. And it's the same with data. So many clients buy our data and don't use it, and because we have seeds in our data, we know who's using it and who's not. Oh, okay, I didn't know that. Actually, with a seed. So a seed, actually. So not a lot of people know this. So with our fleet data, so we have fake businesses in there. Yeah. So every file we send out has a fake or a couple of fake businesses. Now, you on Company's House will find them. You'll find them on LinkedIn with employees, website. You could even call them, Michael, and they'd answer the phone. They are fake businesses, totally fake. But I then know who's using our data. Because you know that they've tried to make contact with them. DMing, whether it be telephone, whether it be email, I know the lot. But what's lovely is that when people are out of license, and they go, we know we've deleted it, and then it goes ping, I go, I was going to ask that, because I suppose when it's like a thing, I was sort of thinking when you say you're out of license now, you have to remove this record, I was kind of like, how do you know that people don't just sort of keep it on the sly? And that's how we do it, Michael, is seeds. And then what I love this one, which is people then saying, and we do generally get this, go, what am I paying for seeds then? And you go, yeah, but it's about £1.50, give or take, depending on what file you get. It's not a lot of money, is it? So then you have to actually literally take off 3 records or 4 records. But then you can't tell them how many seeds are in there, so you got to play the game a little bit. Yeah. So the joy. But yeah, that's how we know how it's out of license. That's clever. On the fleet side. Yeah. So that, Michael, is fleet data. There you go. Buy yourself some fleet data, everybody, if you're in a relevant industry. Otherwise, don't. If you sell to businesses that run vehicles, MIB. Shout out. Not MIB. Which takes us into... Look at that. See how I did that? That was smooth. Our wrap, Michael. So Nick's not here, but it's fine. So your friend Jason is a rapper. He actually is, to be fair. I give him his due. He's all right. I give him his due. He's very good. You're a singer, songwriter, all that jazz, which you don't give yourself enough credit for. But I've been banging the drum with Jason for months, going, write me a data rap. Go on, Jason, please, Jason, write me a data rap. And with the help of ChatGPT, I actually got him to actually do something finally.
Yeah.
And we released it on from yesterday. We did.
Yeah, yesterday. Yeah.
The reviews, Michael, have been A1.
Yeah, it's been positive all round, I think, from what I've seen.
But what I loved is, I absolutely loved. So Jason called one of his clients today, and they opened it with, Jason, Data Man, I absolutely loved your rap. And I said, Jason, there you go. You're putting something out there, and now you're known as the Data Man.
He's going to hate that now.
It's brilliant. Absolutely
great for
brilliant.
the business, but I feel like it's going to haunt him now.
Yeah, but he does profit from it. So,
yeah, it's not
like
too bad.
I said to Jason, his plates. Just keep spinning those plates. But but what I'd like you to do is, to end this podcast, Michael, I want you to put the data wrap at the end.
I think you're going to ask me to do the data.
No. Are you able to do that?
Yeah, we can put it in.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Sorry, some girl bounced in. Put it in. We're going to end the episode there, but now you're going to listen to Jason and the hashtag data rap.
MIB. Yeah. James said we need a data rap. They're saying we're bringing data back. I tell them that this is a data rap. I'm saying we're bringing, this is MIB, not MIB. We're the ones with the data at the top of the league. This no game to me, ain't no lane for we. Think it's plain to see if you label me by SIC. I come up smiling right next to the great Ali. If it's B2B or B2C, yeah, we got what you need. Just give me the list and leave the rest to me. Like why? Think of the ROI, put you in touch with the people who are ready to buy. Coming in clutch with the leads, got a healthy supply. When you're ready, just hit my line. I got them singing like Jane said we need a data rap. I'm saying we're bringing data back. I tell them that this is a data rap. I'm saying we're bringing cheese. Jay said we need a data rap. Hey, we need a data rap. Oh, hey, oh, data boy's back. What do you think?
It's all right. Bit more detail.
All right, we can do that. Please tell me you look directly in the camera.